and is struggling, is spending time trying to find a Gucci and there's something, and is spending time worrying about it. What's wrong with us? You get my message about simplicity? If you want to be wealthy, be simple. Wealthy people are not complicated. The billionaires you've just spoken about, have you seen what Dangote wears? Huh? Very simple, isn't it? He even walks around with what do you call this thing? An Android phone. A simple one. Now you, who is barely making ends, who is getting pocket money from a father, is looking for an iPhone. What's wrong with you? And you have said, no, iPhone 17 Max Pro. I mean, you can't even buy food for yourself. The only asset you own is a bed, and you are worrying about an iPhone Pro. And what's wrong with us? Are you following me? So, let's be simple. If you want to be wealthy, be simple. The real wealthy people are simple. In fact, when you see real wealthy people, they don't make noise. If you see someone still making noise, they have not arrived. So simplicity is a critical part of how we manage our habits. So decide right now, even at your age, what is my fashion style? What do I wear? And be known for it. Just like I told you, if you want to draw Mandela, it's not complicated because you know what he's going to be wearing. If you want to draw Zuckerberg, you know what he's wearing. You don't worry about it. You don't figure out what is he wearing today. He doesn't surprise you. Decide what you... Because once you do that, remember what my doctor said, if you want to be happy, reduce the number of decisions you make. And he said, remove unnecessary decisions. And for me, clothes is one of those unnecessary decisions. Decide what you need to do. In the morning, I know exactly what I'm wearing every day. I don't stress about clothes. Because it's a necessary decision. I don't stress about phones. It's a tool of trade. So I know what I'm going to use and what I need to use. I don't chase around and say, oh, there's now an iPhone 17, an iPhone. As long as it's working and it's doing its job, I'll keep it. I mean, if I have to keep it for 5 years, I will. It doesn't add any value to me to be changing phones every 2 years. What value do I get? And after all, the incremental value you get out of this is not much. And then most of us just use these phones to call and do, what do you call them, TikTok and a few other things. Beyond that, what else do you use it for? Are you getting me? Simplicity makes you wealthy. Number 4. I just want you to know a formula. That's the right one, isn't it? Which is, I call it the savings formula. Now, savings formula is, if you really want to build up your savings, this is how you do it. It's income minus savings equals expenses. You got it? Income minus what? Savings equals what? Expenses. For most of us, it's income minus what? Expenses equals saving. No. It's income minus savings equals expenses. Remember I spoke about the 4 accounts. Now, you must make sure the 4 accounts are dealt with, especially the last 2, which is the emergence account and the investment account. So under savings, you say emergence plus investments. Then that then gives you the transactions account. You getting it? Be intentional and deliberate about your savings. Even if you have very little money, even if you have to put 1 shilling in your saving, put it. So always start and say, how much savings am I making? Then you tailor your life. Remember, once you start doing simplicity and you do the other things that I've spoken about, and you know your stage in life, once you know that, okay, I'm in knowledge phase or I'm in accumulation phase, you start to tailor your lifestyle to measure up to what you have. Don't be like a government. You know, governments start with the expenses, then they look for the money. You are not a government because you can't tax anyone. You see, government can tax you so they can collect money. You can't tax anyone. I mean, of course, I know some of you have got sponsors, so perhaps that's a different conversation. But so the sponsor will get taxed, or in South Africa they call them blessers. Yeah. So the blesser will take you tax the blesser. But please, if you don't have a sponsor and a blesser, you have no one to tax. So please start by saving. Then organize your life that you can fit in within that remains. So income minus savings equals expenses. You understand that? So just start it today. When you leave, just go and say, I'm going to do this. Number 5, That was number 4. Number 5. I'm going to the expenses part. Now, the expenses part must be such that you know what you need to survive. Now, there's a number they call the financial freedom number, which is what is my critical minimum amount of money that I need to survive? And that's a number you must calculate for yourself. Calculate your financial. So if I was running a workshop on this thing and you were in my class, by the time you leave here, would have calculated what is your financial freedom number. In other words, the minimum that I need to live with. So me at my age, I know exactly what is it that I need to live with every month. I know my expenses and I know what is that I need to survive. And I make sure every year from January to December, I stick to that number consistently. So when you ask me, do you have money, and I say no, it doesn't mean I don't have money. Just that I don't have money to give you. Because you are now increasing my what? Financial freedom number. So that is basically where you say, for me to live, this is how much I spend on accommodation. This is how much I need for food. This is how much I spend on my phone. And I know Wi-Fi is a way of life now, on my Wi-Fi and other things. And this is my total cost. You don't buy clothes every month. Please don't. Shop well. Remember we talked about clothes. Buy simple clothes that last you a year. At least minimum. Then you're not shopping every year, every month. And also when you're shopping even for clothes, like now we're getting to January. This is the time to buy clothes. These guys are all giving, what do you call it? They're stocked for Christmas. They are getting rid of their stock. And they've got these 70% sales. That's where some of us shop. You guys shop in November for Christmas. Me, I shop now. Because I don't have to wear new clothes for Christmas. So know your financial freedom number. What is that I live by every month? And once you get that number, it helps you then be able to deal with yourself. Because you can now budget properly. So when you go back to your income minus savings equals expenses, your expenses replaced with financial freedom number. Last one is discipline. These are painful things to do. Because when you get money, there's a book they call The Psychology of Money, you should read it. But the most important thing is that behaviors that people have are driven by money. My father was a policeman, and I remember one of the things that he told me earlier on, he says, money does something to people. So some years ago, there was a robbery of one of these cash vans, and I remember my father was involved in the investigation of that issue. And I remember him talking about, he says, you know what, we'll catch them. And I said, how you catch them? He says, because all we are doing is monitoring the bars. Because we know, we will see who will start to behave funny in a bar, and they are the robbers. And trust me, they caught them. Why? Because these guys got so excited because they robbed this cash van and the bulk of the money they stole were coins. And you suddenly these people walking into a bar and ordering drinks and paying in coins. And of course they were caught. But the most important thing is that money has a certain way that it does to people. And when you get money, some people don't know how to behave and to react to it. And especially a lot of us come from poor backgrounds. When this money comes in, you get what we call the shepherd effect. You know, how many people know shepherd? Ever heard of shepherd? Never heard of it. So yeah, old generation that name. Okay, this, there's this powder that kids get and they eat and lick. You know it? It's like sugary stuff. Now, when we were growing up ourselves, in the village, and someone comes with this thing, we saw that person as a hero. And we say, one day I will get enough money to buy sherbet. You get what I'm saying? Now at my age, if you see me walking around licking sherbet, what will you think? Because it's now my time, isn't it? Finally, I can afford sherbet. Now, some of you behave like that. When you get money, finally I've arrived, I have this money. Now you are walking around a grown-up man behaving like a silly old kid because you suddenly have made this money. So discipline is important when it comes to money. We have to have a certain level of discipline. So it means that you have to do things repetitively. You are a product of the things you do every day, or you are a product of your habits. Each one of us is a product of habits. Those things that I do every day define who I am. So if I get in the discipline of saying my income minus savings equals to my expenses, if I have the discipline of knowing that every month I have to put 4 accounts, if I have the discipline of knowing that every month I know my financial freedom number, if I have discipline of knowing that I don't have to chase the latest phone in town and I just use my phone as is and I live a simple life, you'll find you'll be wealthy. So, discipline is important. But also more importantly is to start. In Luo, they have a word they call chaka a chaka. Who speaks Luo here? Any Luo person? You know chaka a chaka? You want to explain to them? It is to start. Chaka chaka is in Luo is to start. Start. Or Nike calls it what? Just what? Do it. So my closing remarks, guys, is chaka chaka. Just start. Where you are today, now. Because if you don't start, you will not do well. And lastly, integrity is important. Don't find shortcuts to making money. I think it would be remiss if I don't say this. I see many ruined lives of young people who rushed to think they can make money quickly. And today in a world where people see wealthy people, you think I can be wealthy, and you get caught in a lot of things. And you get caught. Make your money easy. Me, when I sleep at night and someone knocks at my house, I know there are only 2 people. It's either a visitor or a thief, and I know how to deal with them. I don't expect the law enforcement agents to come and ask me where I got my money from. I can account for every cent I have. So please work hard to make your money. There's an African proverb that says that a man who goes in the bush to hunt and comes back with a mbuzi or a goat is a thief. Please don't go and hunt other people's goats. When you go to hunt, come back with a wild animal, not a mbuzi. Please, I rest my case. I thank you.
Just before you go, I think we can take a few questions. So if you have a question, please feel free to share with us. And even as we do that online, I captured some of your questions. So we can be asking Charles that. So Mabel, I hope I've pronounced your name well, says, I would like to know more about investment vehicles that are available to us in case we decide to sell that land that you told us to sell.
Yes, there are a number of investment vehicles that are available. So if I just talk about it broadly, I mean, if you can invest in government securities, which you call treasury bills, which are safe largely, and the good thing about it is that if you're in Uganda, you know, you can invest in Kenya, in Tanzania, in Uganda, because we're in East Africa. So there's an opportunity for you to look at a whole East Africa market and invest in there. So you have a good opportunity to look at how much money am I getting in, like treasury bills in Kenya, in Uganda. So you've got that. You also can put long-term money like in government bonds. Like I think this week the government floated 3 bonds on Wednesday. There was a 3-year, a 10-year, and a 15-year bond. Those also give out, so you can put long-term money in those kind of investments. They give you good returns, 16, 17%. So you have a good opportunity to put that. But you can still put money in land, but not that land. Put money in real estate that's generating something. In other words, just like keeping a piece of land which is not doing anything is not useful. Put something on it, get something, or buy something, a commercial piece of land that actually is in give you a return. So you have options that you can look at in terms of where you want it. Recently, you can put money in shares, even here domestically, they also share options. So there are many vehicles that we have which are fairly safe and standard that you can put in money and it generates returns for you and you can make money.
All right. As you're preparing your questions, if you have a question, just kindly shoot up your hand so that I can bring the mic to you. So there's Otema is asking, how does age affect these financial phases? Just speak a little bit more into that.
Okay. I mean, typically you want to say when you are young and you from university, you're in the knowledge phase. After 3 years of working, you move into accumulation phase. After 5 years of working, you are into the hierarchy phase. After 10 years, you are in the self-actualization phase. But it never works like that because each one of us have got our own pace of growth. So you find some people, even after graduating 10 years, they're still in the knowledge phase. So I don't want to drive the fact that age is necessarily the one that's driving it. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is that I'm encouraging you to be aware of it. And if you can move very quickly to actualization phase tomorrow, then you will be. Think about it. The first president of Uganda, how old was he when he became president? Milton Obote. Does anyone know? Can someone check? I mean, you guys, you live in the chat GPT world. Check. How old was he when he became president? Has anyone found it? How old was he? 39. They said 41. Okay. What? 37. No, he was not 47. 37, yes, 37. He was not even 40. How old was Nyerere when he became president? Even younger. How old was Dangote when he founded Dangote Industries? 21. How old was Mark Zuckerberg when he founded Facebook? 19. I don't know if it answers your question. It's not about age. It's about what's inside here. If someone can be president at 37 or at 31, can found a whole conglomerate at 23, can become a billionaire like Mark Zuckerberg at 21, what are you waiting for? So all of you here, I don't think there's anyone who is anyone 19 here? None. So ideally, you are all candidates to become billionaires by tomorrow. If we were to follow Mark Zuckerberg's route.
All right, the last question from the online before we take the physical questions. How does one know their financial freedom number?
It's not a complicated, I know the word financial freedom might sound very complicated. In simple language, all I'm saying is know how much you need to survive. So what does that mean? It means how much you need to pay for accommodation, how much you need to pay